that Justin Bieber got by Diddy.
It's not our fault that Usher didn't want to get fucked by Diddy anymore.
It is
not our fault that Usher didn't want to get fucked by Diddy no more.
Don't hit me no more. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Let's go. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. Hey, hey, hey. It was hard. There were a lot of things I seen and a lot of positions that I think I was put in where I had to make very, very tough decisions in my life about who I would be. I was 13 years old, and being 13, having that type of exposure, it was cool to go to Howard Homecoming with Puff. It was great to be able to go to Club USA or the Supper Club, with Puffy in that time, or the Tunnel. But these are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be. Most kids will be excited about it. Most kids are trying to figure out, how to be around hot girls, pretty girls. I'm around grown women, and I'm seeing them do things and have experiences that I'm not quite ready for. And I think that he was just trying to show me the lifestyle. However, that's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight. We would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you got to chill. Like, you're just a little bit too intense. You got to relax. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I'm 13 years old, like banging on this man as though, I am the manager. I am the spokesperson for Usher. And I'm telling him, look, you're going to put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there. You got Craig Mack in there. You're going to make me a priority too. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? I think as a kid, I realized, hey, look, that's not my ring. That's not my moment. That's not my bottle. That's not my drink. That's not my celebration. So I'm not here to celebrate. I wanted people to be excited about me the way that they were excited about him. I wanted my own success. I would stay at the studio. All of what I could absorb from being an artist, being around other performers like Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, Al B. Sure at the time, Missy Elliott, Timbaland, all of these people, I would just absorb every bit of what I could get my hands on. I was just pulling everything I possibly could. There was a lesson in all of it. There was something to pull from it all because I got a chance to see a glimpse of the lifestyle, a glimpse of the idea of what it was to be successful. And part of all of this is really, if you can see it.
When Usher was still a rising star, it's widely known that Sean Diddy Combs had a hand in mentoring him. At least that's how it was presented. But looking back, some people have started to question the real motive behind that mentorship. Was Diddy genuinely trying to help young artists like Usher, or was he looking for someone to shape, control, and use for his own benefit? Usher's early years in the industry were heavily influenced by Diddy, and that relationship
would set the tone for what's now being re-examined under a different light.
There's an old story floating around that Diddy gave up Justin Bieber to Usher, almost like transferring responsibility. But when you really look at the way,
like Robin Big.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
I'm big and you're Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person. Besides his talent, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin, you.
Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Apparently not.
Something
Right now. Wow.
Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. That was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. What music are you listening to?
Would you rather have to be naked on stage during one full song, or drink a cup of blended worms? Answer Justin Bieber.
I have like little girl fans. I can't go.
My parents never gave me the sex doll. Okay.
Certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to...
Flown out to Atlanta by a manager. His name's Scooter Braun. Flown out to Atlanta just to meet with him and meet different producers and different people. I was actually going to meet Jermaine Dupri at his studio. And who rolls up? Usher in his Range Rover. Rolls up, and I was like, "Is that who I think it is?" And Scooter was like, "Yeah." And so I ran up to him and I was like, Usher, I love your songs. You want me to sing you one? And he was like, let's just go inside, little buddy. It's cold out. So the politest possible way he could say no, he did. And I was like, wow, he just turned me down. And I was a little disappointed. He had to go into a studio session, so I was like, whatever. And a week later, he actually watched my videos with my manager and was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I let him sing? So flew me back to Atlanta where I got to meet him again. And he wanted to sign me. But there was something else.
Justin Timberlake, right?
Yes, Justin Timberlake also wanted to sign me. It was like kind of like what happened was Justin Timberlake and Usher both went into a ring and boxed it out. And the outcome was Usher, I think.
Into Bieber's career, it seems more like Diddy was making a strategic move rather than stepping aside. He still maintained proximity and influence. Diddy's goal was control and access, then placing Justin under Usher's wing could have just been another way to stay involved without appearing to be
front and center.
2024 Usher was selected to headline the Super Bowl halftime show, a major career milestone. Most fans expected Justin Bieber to make a surprise appearance given their history, but Bieber didn't show up. Later, Usher confirmed that Justin turned him down. It was a respectful explanation, but it raised eyebrows. Usher and Bieber were still close. Why did Bieber pass on such a high-profile?
Because that's their ritual. That's their rite of passage to get to the next level. They just videotape it. Then when he in a meeting, they give him a contract. They play the video of him getting fucked by like 3 niggas. Everybody in the music industry that you see that's successful is a homosexual. I lift my wrist. Let the motel just keep on them lights. Take a ton of day. So you go, so they get high, they get intoxicated, and they have transvestites in ass. Yo, they have transvestites.
I'ma tell you one time. I'ma tell you one time. I'ma tell you one time. One time when I met you, come on. Wow.
I ain't mean to stop you like that, but this is only a tease. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you, Island Def Jam recording artist, Justin Bieber. It's getting ready to go down. Just so you know, we're in the studio right now working on it. Get ready because it's going to be big. Ain't that right, Justin?
That's right.
That's right. So look out. We're coming.
It hinted at a growing distance, possibly a
result of old tensions going back to their Diddy-related beginnings.
Went on the record and said there was no love lost with Justin, but sometimes it's not what's said, it's how it's said. Usher seemed careful, almost diplomatic, choosing his words. He talked about the pressures of organizing a show and said maybe the timing wasn't right, but when a mentor reaches out and the mentee declines, it suggests a deeper rift. Could it be that Bieber is distancing himself from not just Usher but from the environment Usher represented
during his early career?
There's a theory going around that this isn't just celebrity drama, it's the slow unraveling of what some people call Hollywood Babylon. For years, certain names in entertainment had unchecked power, but now that power is being challenged, Diddy's name keeps coming up.
To New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What what I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans,
And your
Jodeci,
parents were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than this.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
What
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Mind me asking, because I know the topic is sensitive. What happened to Usher?
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing something. They may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executive.
Where did you hear it?
Bro, you know how people be talking, and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, "Yo, I don't F with that dude." And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. I was probably say, "Yo, man, I don't F with them niggas. Man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that." You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened.
Contextualize old stories. Was Usher a willing participant in the industry machine, or was he used as a tool to bring in other young talents for someone else's larger plan? Justin Bieber's silence on Diddy and Usher has been loud in its own way. Has gradually created space from both of them. In 2023 and 2024, fans noticed he unfollowed Usher and stopped attending Diddy's events altogether. While he hasn't made any public accusations, his actions speak volumes. Bieber's quiet retreat could be his way of stepping out of a cycle he no longer wants to be associated with. Of mentorship and entertainment is often romanticized, but what happens when that mentorship isn't about support but about access? Diddy took on the role of a gatekeeper.
And he told a story about how he went to Diddy house with Mace.
Yeah.
And he fought the dildo in the sink.
I think that was crazy. I think that was out of, and then Mace said that was Puffs. I think he said Mace said that was Puffs, but Mace was in the bathroom with it. I don't know what that was all about, man, but that was real weird to me. That was crazy.
Crazy, man. But before we get off of that, right, I remember you told me a while ago that, Mace, he used to live with Diddy, and he know a lot of stuff about Diddy that a lot of people don't know.
Man, it's a lot of stuff that Mace and Usher know that they ain't telling about Diddy. There's a lot of stuff that they know. Can you imagine, bruh? Can you really imagine?
What you mean by Usher, though?
Usher used to stay with Diddy, too, when he was younger. And this was years ago. So the locks ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. This the kind of... Man, listen here. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But I want to talk about this lawsuit by Gunn, right? And I want to get your opinion on it. It's a part in this lawsuit where she alleges that she was at a dinner with Neo, Usher, and Jimmy Iovine. And Diddy, he punched Cassie in the stomach and no one did anything. How you feel about that?
They were part of the dinner, and they watched Cassie get abused in front of... Puffy abused Cassie in front of them. And neither one of those men, and they probably security was around too, did nothing to stop what he had did to Cassie. Now that's just crazy right there, bro. That is just crazy. Usher probably got a daughter. Neo probably got kids. I don't know. Jimmy Iovine, he take about 15, 20 scoops of sugar in his coffee. So all those cats there, supposed to be men, watch that lady get abused right there in public, and they did nothing, brother. They did nothing. That goes to show you the power that he had mentally over them. Here go a woman witnesses, and this witnessing it and said, they said nothing. Yo, man, stop. Don't do that. Yo, not here, bro. Easy. Nothing. Don't do nothing. Say something. She said they didn't do anything and they didn't say nothing. That's the bad thing about it. If you're not going to do nothing, open your damn mouth and say something. And that's a lot wrong with our people right now.
Have thought he was being helped, but in hindsight, did he realize he was just a part of a bigger system, one that benefited someone else far more than it helped him? Like, what is even going on here? How was all of this happening in plain sight without anyone figuring out what was going on? So yeah, the whole family is kind of messed up, and that's without even talking about the lawsuits his sons have been hit by. So how do you think things will turn out for Diddy? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. These legal troubles have now reached a point where even his own lawyers are stepping away. Top attorney Anthony Rico resigned, saying he could no longer represent Diddy. That speaks volumes about what might be
happening behind the scenes. If
someone that close to the defense team is walking away, it's a major sign that things are crumbling.
Yeah, we want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shouts out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should
fresh off the garden stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like, that's how. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the f did Puff just say? Nobody's going to acknowledge this with me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was fucking stupid. Listen,
we having a good time. Your Usher made it.
He had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, and his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there.
His interests might no longer be willing to stand by him. One of the most shocking developments came when the powerful entertainment law firm Grubman Shire Micellers and Sachs dropped Diddy as a client. This wasn't just business, it was personal. The rumor is that major clients, including Lady Gaga, threatened to leave unless the firm cut ties with him. Diddy had been with them for over 20 years. Losing that relationship suggests that support for him in the industry is quickly drying up. Clip 10. Now that's so.
Many people are rethinking their history with Diddy.
Usher's role is also being reconsidered. Was he ever truly in control, or was he being...
But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bro, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp. You know, his mother had a modeling agency and it was alleged that it was also ladies of the night, a prostitution ring too, or these ladies was doing things other than modeling. So the apple don't fall far from the tree. Yeah. So now you got to understand this and looking at her and some of the stuff that he was saying, and their relationship has changed since I knew them, since I was around them. You understand? This man was talking about that his mother could take her palms and bend over and put them down on the floor. Not bend over, but she could stand straight up and put her palms on the floor, bruh. He's saying that about his mother. Who describes any of their mother action like that in a sexual way? And then, you know, I don't know how many dudes do kiss their mother in their mouth when they 50, 60 years old or something like that. That's them. That's their whole thing, man. But that was a little kind of weird for me. And then his mother wore the same white fingernail polish that Cassie described that he liked to see her and other models in when she was describing her lawsuit. And what's crazy to me is that, man, it seemed like him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man, this Oedipus complex thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people going to say, yo, Oedipus complex. Well, let me just tell you a brief story so you'll know. Oedipus it may have been Greek mythology or it was probably Greek mythology or something like that. But it's a story about a young man that was told that he was going to kill his father and marry his mother. So on the way, this young man had grown up, you know, he didn't know that he was an orphan and then was adopted by a family. He thought the family he was with was his mother and father, but it wasn't. So on the way to this town, he gets into an argument with this other man and he kills him. He kills that man. Then he goes into that town. A lady is weeping about her husband, being told that her husband was dead, and he ended up marrying that lady, which was his mother. So Sigmund Freud came up with this thing about this Oedipus complex, about a sexual relationship, whether it's physical or mental, with a mother and a son. So I'm looking at his mother and him on the couch, and both of them are getting IVs after one of the Diddy parties. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because I wasn't there and I didn't know. But they showed them both getting IVs on the couch. So my whole thing about this thing is that I'm not saying that she was ever at a freak off. She was ever at that type of party. But you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who was always at the regular parties, didn't know nothing about the freak off parties. This is the same dude, bruh, that used to disrespect his mother. So I seen the love now that they have for each other only on film and camera. You know, on the YouTube or Instagram or wherever they were showing it and stuff like that. But this the same guy that Kirk Burrows once told me he slapped his mother. And I told everybody, had I known he slapped his mother after I told Kirk Burrows, Kirk told me after I straightened his ass out for cussing his mama out. His mother came in the limousine and he was on the phone and she said, yo, why don't you tell these people like that? And he just cussed her clean out like on some, didn't I tell you to stay out my motherfucking business? And I was like, yo, I was shocked. She didn't say nothing. I said to him, I said, yo, boy, let me tell you something. If you ever cuss your mama again, I'm going to beat the shit out you. You ain't going to bring nothing but bad luck to us treating your mama like that. So I guess he ain't treating his mama like that no more. But I don't have no qualms in her defending her son.